It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, isn't it about time your printer got smart too? Now printing is smart with HP Plus, and the HP Smart app is how it all happens. You can print from your phone with just a tap, no matter where you are, even from your garage/home office/yoga studio. Huh, that is smart. HP Plus. Learn more about smart printing at hp.com/smart.
Once you're done listening to today's Locked On Bucs podcast, make sure you're checking out Peacock and Williamson. NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson host Locked On's Peacock and Williamson every Monday through Friday. Brian and Matt give you the national perspective all around the NFL, covering all the latest news and insight on every game, team, and move around the NFL. Get your picks, previews, and much more every weekday with the Peacock and Williamson podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
You are Locked On Buccaneers, your daily Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome back to the Locked On Bucs podcast. I am James Yarko, flying solo today. You can check out everything that David Harrison and I are doing over at BucsNation.com. Make sure you follow along on Twitter at LockedOnBucs, at JYarko_Bucs, at DHarrison82, and at Bucs_Nation. Coming up on today's episode, we are going to be discussing some more rankings from our friends over at Pro Football Focus. And we do have a couple of voicemails to close out the weekend. But first, what is official is official. And that, of course, I am referring to the Madden 22 cover. It was officially announced on Thursday at 10 a.m. that Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes will both be on the cover of the latest edition of Madden. Now, of course, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes both making their second appearance on the cover of the game, but this is the first time that a Tampa Bay Buccaneers player has been featured on the cover. So there have been a couple of teams that have had multiple players, like the Tennessee Titans with Eddie George and Vince Young. You had the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. Now you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their very first cover. And something that I found to be kind of interesting, David and I were talking after recording our last episode, and this all kind of dawned on me. I put it in my article about the cover over at BucsNation.com, but for those of you that don't visit BucsNation.com, first off, really hope that you do one day, because there's a lot of great stuff over there from some really, really talented writers. But this is the second time now that the Madden cover has featured two athletes. Now, the first time that this happened, the cover was for Madden 2010. Now, that featured Pittsburgh Steelers safety Troy Polamalu and Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. That cover came out following Super Bowl 43, where the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Arizona Cardinals, allegedly, because Santonio Holmes didn't get his second foot down, but that's neither here nor there. But the Pittsburgh Steelers defeat the Arizona Cardinals, and Bruce Arians wins a Super Bowl ring as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers coaching staff. He was the offensive coordinator there. Now, the second time that they feature a dual athlete cover is following a Super Bowl win from Bruce Arians, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 55. What's even stranger about that, both of those Super Bowls took place at Raymond James Stadium. And to take it one step further, I didn't mention this in Bucs Nation, but for those of you that regularly listen to the show, you know I got to give her a shout out. Carmen Vitale was, of course, in attendance for both of those games because at the time she was interning with the Arizona Cardinals. So, basic rule of thumb, if Bruce Arians is on a coaching staff and Carmen Vitale is employed by a team that wins a Super Bowl, the following year, there will be 2 players on the cover of Madden. Just a fun little tidbit that I thought I would bring up because I found it to be pretty intriguing, and I haven't seen anybody else talk about this. This is usually one of those things that you would see Greg Allman tweet out, but Allman, I believe, is on vacation. He had posted on Twitter a little while ago that he was taking a break, probably going on a vacation, and so he wasn't going to be active on Twitter for the time being. But that is I think about that and I'm like, that is a Greg Allman tidbit if I have ever heard one. A lot of people are still concerned about the Madden curse, whether you believe in it or not. I did post a poll on Twitter. I talked about those results over on the last episode when we talked about the speculation that Tom Brady was going to be on the cover, but I posted the poll again in my article on bucksnation.com, and 15% of the voters, as of the time of this recording, said yes, they believe in the Madden curse. 50% said no. 30% said I did, but it was broken, and 5% said that they've never heard of it. So, interesting, 80% of the voters of BucksNation.com are basically saying there's no curse to worry about. Bucks are going back-to-back. No worries at all. Tom Brady, of course, released a very, very funny video on Twitter about his Madden curse bubble outfit to protect him. If you haven't seen that, check out Tom Brady's Twitter account. I believe he also posted it on Instagram, but it's a very, very funny video. Coming up in just a moment, we are going to talk about some quarterback rankings from Pro Football Focus. But first, who doesn't want instant gratification? If you're looking for satisfaction, there's no need to wait. With Credit Karma Money, you could win cash reimbursements for debit purchases. Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursements for making purchases. When you use your Credit Karma Money debit card, you can win daily Instant Karma purchase reimbursements on items up to $5,000. Think about that. You use that debit card, you got to get your car repaired. Maybe you're taking your family out for a nice dinner. Maybe you're shopping for your husband or for your own father for Father's Day, and boom, you get that money right back in your account, and you are giving them a fantastic gift, and it didn't cost you a single penny. Credit Karma Money has already given away over $3 million in Instant Karma to over 50,000 Credit Karma members and counting. I can verify I am one of those people that has received part of that $3 million in Instant Karma. For June 8th through June 30th, when you make a purchase between June 8th and June 30th, you'll be automatically entered to win $1 million. Right now, visit creditkarma.com/winmoney to open your free account and start winning Instant Karma. Go to creditkarma.com/winmoney to sign up for free and start winning Instant Karma. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MVB Bank Incorporated, member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply. Credit Karma Money. Progress starts here.
What's up, everybody? David Harrison here of the Locked On Washington Football Team podcast. I actually just retired from the Army, and while that was a very exciting moment in my life, it also meant uprooting my family one last time. And not only that, but we moved in the midst of COVID, so finding the place that we really wanted to live wasn't as easy as it usually would have been. So we actually have moved a second time, and of course, every time we've had to wonder, is all of our stuff going to fit with our new house? Did you know that people who live in cities move 6 to 8 times before they even hit their early 30s? That's why you've got to check out Feather. Feather is a furniture rental company designed for people who want to feel at home no matter how often they move. Furnishing one bedroom can cost upwards of $6,000, but with Feather, you can furnish a bedroom with high-quality, beautifully designed furniture for the cost of your monthly utility bill. Their delivery team brings furniture directly to your home in as little as 7 days. They handle all the heavy lifting so you can go from an empty apartment to a fully furnished home without lifting a finger or assembling anything. And it's not just furniture. They have rugs, lamps, wall art, and more. What if you move to a new place with a different layout? No problem. You can easily get furniture that works for any space. Plus, by renting from Feather, you're choosing a sustainable alternative to fast furniture that won't end up in landfills. I remember vividly having to take time off of work or away from family events or social events that I wanted to attend just to wait for several furniture deliveries coming at different times throughout the week, but you don't have to go through that anymore. Try a new way to furnish your home right now. Feather has an exclusive offer just for Locked On listeners. If you go to livefeather.com right now and use the promo code Locked On, you'll receive $300 off your first month. Again, that's livefeather.com and use our promo code Locked On for $300 off your first month.
Segment 2 here of the Locked On Bucks podcast here on a Friday. Flying solo, David Harrison had some issues. Wasn't going to be able to make the show. No big deal. We keep on rolling. He's filled in for me. I filled in for him. That's what's great about having a co-host. And, David's gotten everything worked out now. Seems like we're going to be good on that front, but he needed the day off. So I'm here to try to send you into the weekend in a fantastic fashion. But we're going to talk about more of these rankings from Pro Football Focus. They came out with their 2021 analytical quarterback rankings. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the breakdowns and all of this craziness, but they have this quarterback ranking based on all plays where it's a minimum of 1,000 career plays between 2007 and 2020, where they rank your grade, your EPA, which for those of you that don't know what EPA is, it is what is considered expected points added. Okay, so it's kind of like the WAR judgment in baseball. You have your expected goal percentage for hockey based on the way things are breaking down. So the EPA, expected points added per play. So they break down the grade percentage, the EPA rank, the EPA percentage, the total rank, the total percentage. Okay, they have their wacky grading system, but this is based on an analytical tool that they're using. So for the 2021 season, the number one quarterback, surprise, surprise, it's Patrick Mahomes, who is kind of far and above everybody else. Basically, he's a 100% across the board. Like, he is the best of the best, whatever you want to call it. So when they added rushing grades into the mix, that put Lamar Jackson up in the top 3, which David and I talked about Lamar Jackson on the last show. I'm not sold on him. I like Lamar. I thought he should have been drafted way higher than he was, but that's neither here nor there. But Deshaun Watson came in at number 2. We don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. That's still kind of up in the air, being settled. Is he going to play for the Texans? Is he going to play at all? Not really sure what's going on with Deshaun. But then Lamar Jackson is at number 3. Reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers comes in at number 4. He's back into the top 5 after having what PFF calls relatively down years in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Then tied for 5th are Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson and your beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady. Now, in the blurb where they talk about this, they don't really talk about Tom Brady at all. I'll read you what it says. Quote, Tom Brady and Russell Wilson are tied for 5th in the quarterback rankings. Wilson has a large divergence in grades and EPA projections, mostly because his propensity to take sacks shows up more negatively in the latter. Wilson's standing has fallen in the eyes of many, but he still remains an elite quarterback. That's it. Then they move on to number 7, number 6, Justin Herbert, coming into his second year. So they really don't say anything about Tom Brady. It's kind of at this point, it's like, well, it's Tom Brady. Here you go. Yeah, you guys know what you're getting. We know what you're getting. You know what you're getting. The team knows what they're getting. It's Tom Brady. He's going to do his thing. So Tom Brady came in with his grade ranking at number 7, his grade percentage at 92.7, His EPA rank is 6th, and then his total rank is 5. Both he and Russell Wilson finished with a 92.7 total percentage. Russell Wilson's grade percentage was a 97.6, but that EPA that they were talking about, that expected points I already forgot. Expected points added. I keep wanting to say adjusted. It's a Friday. I'm focused on the Lightning Game 3 about to drop the puck. So I'm a little scatterbrained. But his expected points added is all the way down at an 87.8%, and that's the sacks that they were talking about that came into play there. So when they put it all together, he and Tom Brady both ended up with a 92.7. Going down the rest of the list, Justin Herbert, Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, all the way down there underneath Baker Mayfield. Then you got Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, Roethlisberger, Tannehill, Stafford, Jameis, Cam Newton, Derek Carr, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jared Goff, Andy Dalton, Carson Wentz, Tua, Teddy, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold, and Drew Lock. I will say this. It's not very often that I'm going to say things like this, but I will say it. I'll give a little bit of credit, a little bit of praise to a division rival. Thank goodness they ranked Jameis Winston above Cam Newton. Cam Newton's garbage. He's garbage, folks. Absolute garbage. And they're talking about, oh, he's so much farther ahead than he was last year. And oh, he's going to be fantastic for the New England Patriots. No, he's not. The dude has stunk since he didn't dive on a fumble in the Super Bowl when they got their brains bashed in by Von Miller and the Denver Broncos. He stinks. He's garbage. I think Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston. We saw it here for 5 years. He's going to be what he is. He's going to win the Saints some games. He might win the Saints a game against the Buccaneers. We've seen the brilliance that he can have. But he's going to cost the Saints some games that they shouldn't lose. He's going to turn the ball over in a pivotal situation because that's who he is. That's who he is. You take the good with the bad. When you have Jameis Winston under center and the Saints might be fighting for a playoff spot, but they are no longer the big bad bully of the NFC South. That title belongs to the Buccaneers. And I don't think there's a team in the division that's going to be able to hang with the Buccaneers when things get serious. With that, we are going to hit our next break before we get to some voicemails. And look, with the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it is now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless and seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand that their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and sitting in your pocket right now. You can save time and money when you order with rockauto.com. Why choose to spend up to 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or a car dealership when you can get them at rockauto.com for far less? Rockauto.com is a family business serving auto parts customers online for 20 years. They have everything you need, from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, even new carpet. And the rockauto.com prices are reliably low for mechanics and do-it-yourselfers. Go explore their easy-to-use website and find all of the parts that you need for your specific car. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck right locked on in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. That money that you save from rockauto.com, why don't you go ahead and parlay that into some delicious Built Bars. 9 delicious flavors. You know my favorite. It's the peanut butter brownie. I do love the mint brownie. I love the salted caramel. But there's something for everyone. They got coconut almond, cherry, raspberry, mint brownie, peanut butter brownie, double chocolate, and salted caramel. If you don't know what your favorite flavor is, You can get a mixed box, and you are going to get 2 bars of each of the 9 flavors. 2 bars. You know what that means? You can throw one in the freezer and eat it the way I like it. You can throw one in the fridge and eat it the way David likes it. Or you can leave them at room temperature and eat them the way that Ross Jackson of Locked On Saints likes it. Not only are the Built Bar flavors absolutely delicious, but they are healthy. Most of the flavors have 17 grams of protein, 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs. Go to BuiltBar.com. Use promo code LOCKED15, and you will receive 15% off your next order. Again, promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED, number 1, number 5, for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. Wrapping things up here on a Friday edition of the Locked On Bucks podcast. James Yarko flying solo. David Harrison has the night off, but you can check us out on Twitter at JYarko_Bucks, at DHarrison82. We got a couple of voicemails. And before we get to those, I am going to give some. We're going to do a little. Is it housekeeping, house cleaning, whatever the case may be? Let's get some of this stuff out of the way real quick. Number 1, this weekend is Father's Day. That's on Sunday. Because of that, David and I are taking Sunday off. We're going to spend the time with our kids, spend the time with our families. Unfortunately, I don't get to see my dad on Father's Day because he's down in St. Petersburg trying to enjoy the beach, but there's some problems with the beach down there in St. Pete, and they've been getting rained on since they got down there. But I'm going to give him a call, wish him the best anyway. I'm going to spend some time with my kids. David's going to spend some time with his kids. So because of that, we are not recording, and we're still going to bring you 3 episodes next week, but it's going to be on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday instead of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hope you all understand. Second, for those of you that are hockey fans, you all know how much I love hockey. My son plays hockey. We go all over the place. I'm a huge Tampa Bay Lightning guy. You guys know that. Well, tomorrow, on Friday, I will be sitting down to record Locked On Lightning with Adam Danker. He's going to have me on the Friday episode of Locked On Lightning. Very excited to do that. So if you feel so inclined, make sure you check that episode out. And then hopefully you stick around and continue to listen to what a great job Adam does over there at Locked On Lightning here with the Locked On Network. With that, let's go ahead and dive into some voicemails. First up, we got JT. JT's calling in. He is responding to a Would You Rather question that we had a few episodes back where it talked about you only get to win 3 championships over the course of the next basically 30 years. This goes until 2050. So would you rather win all 3 of them right now, back to back to back, or would you rather win 1 per decade? And if you take that 1 per decade, or if you take the 3 right now, you basically become the Dallas Cowboys, and you're competitive. You'll make the playoffs a couple of times, but you're never going to, you're never going to get back to the big game. Whereas if you take the 3 over the course of each of the next 3 decades, of course, we already have the one for the 20s, but you will get the opportunity to win, 1 every 10 years, but you might be up and down. You might be a whole lot of up and down. So JT wanted to call and weigh in, so let's go ahead and dive over to that voicemail.
Hi, guys. JT from Texas. I wanted to chime in on that would you rather question. It was the 50 years. That's the one I would go for. I want to win the next 2 and then nothing for the next 37 years, but stay competitive. The other one, if you win every 10 years, that's not guaranteeing you're going to be a 10-year and then you're going to win again. You could win the first one this year and not win another until the last one of the 30s. So it could be another 20-year drought. I would go with the in the playoffs more regularly. All right, go Bucks. Great question. That's cool. He's from Sydney. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
JT, thank you very much for the call. It's much appreciated. Yeah, it really was. It was a fantastic question, and it's a tough one to answer because Buccaneers fans have been through so much of the good, but way, way, way more of the bad. So you kind of have to weigh your options there. At least with this, you know that the Bucs are going to win 3 total championships, including last year's, but 3 total championships between 2020 and 2050. So that's, there's the silver lining no matter what decision you make. Do you want all of your happiness now, or do you want it spread out a little bit over the course of some time? We're going to wrap things up here with one more voicemail, and this is, you know what? This is a good one, and I'll be interested to hear David's reaction to this when he returns to the show on Tuesday. But let's go ahead and jump over to the next call.
What's up, guys? This is True. So, unfortunately, I still didn't look at the list. But in regards to the running back rank, I agree that 26 was too low, like lower than I was expecting. But not by much. Like, I was thinking probably early 20s, late teens. I definitely did not think we would be in that 8 to 12 range at all. We can't discount what happened in the postseason with our running game, but I think to look at a 3-game sample size and ignore a 16-game sample size, or even more so, if we're looking at the career of Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, I don't think we can do that either. That little graphic that comes at the bottom of the screen when the game starts, number 1, run defense, number 20, pass defense, like when the defense is on the field, and vice versa for the offense, number 2, pass offense, and whatever our run offense was. It wasn't great. Like, I understand they had good postseason performances, but I don't think we had a great running game last year. We just didn't. Like I said, I don't really have any specifics like, oh, we're better than this team, that team, like as far as really breaking down every other team. But our run offense wasn't great. So late teens, early 20s would have been cool with me. 26 did seem a little disrespectful. But, anyway, go Bucs. That's my opinion on that. Go Bucs, baby. Super Bowl champ. Let's do it.
True. Thank you very much for the call. And you know what? You're not far off. And, that was what you guys heard when David and I talked about that was my initial reaction. That was off the cuff. That wasn't, I didn't do any research into their rankings. I didn't do any research into their statistics. But I know what Ronald Jones is capable of. I know what Leonard Fournette is capable of. I especially know what Gio Bernard is capable of. I've watched him for a long time here in the Cincinnati area. So it seemed to me that if you were going to grade the entire room, that the Bucs should have been ranked higher than what they were. But true, I did the research for you. I looked at the numbers for you. And I was actually kind of surprised at how low the Buccaneers were in some of these situations, or some of these statistics. They ranked 29th in the NFL in rushing attempts. They ranked 25th in the NFL in yards per carry. They ranked 28th in the NFL in yards per game, and they ranked 18th in the NFL in touchdowns. So true, I think you're a little more spot on. Late teens, early 20s probably would have been a better fit for them. Maybe I was being a little bit of a homer and I was putting them a little higher than they should have been. Maybe David was doing the same. But based on their production last year, and of course we do have to remember, Ronald Jones missed the last couple of games with injury/COVID protocol, could have broken 1,000 yards. The Bucs could have had a 1,000-yard rusher. And if you are a 1,000-yard rusher, especially last year, you were in kind of the upper echelon of running backs. I'm not saying that Ronald Jones is Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara, but he would have been up there in the overall rankings for the season. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But when you look at the team as a whole, which is what they were grading it on, they were grading the running backs as a whole. The Buccaneers were mid to low 20s, except on touchdowns where they were late teens. So true, I concede. You win on that one. I guess I was wrong. I probably ranked them way higher than they needed to be, but I'll be interested to hear David's reaction when he returns on Tuesday. And with that, we are out of here. Now that you're done listening to this show, make sure that you are checking out Locked On Today. Get all the sports news you need in under 20 minutes with the Locked On Today podcast. Host Peter Bukowski updates you on the latest news from in every major sport with the help of our local experts. Follow the Locked On Today podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. You can check out everything David and I are doing over at BucksNation.com. Follow along on Twitter at LockedOnBucks, at JYarko_Bucks, at DHarrison82, and at Bucks_Nation. Send us your voicemails and emails to 813-444-5841 or LockedOnBucksPodcast@gmail.com. Hope you all have an absolutely outstanding day. For all you dads out there, have a very happy Father's Day. Enjoy your day. Hope you all have a great one. Stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, be good to one another, go Bolts, and we'll see you next week right here on the Locked On Bucks podcast.